All right, so when we have a right triangle like this, remember the area of our triangle is half base times height. So wherever that right angle is gives you the base and the height of your triangle. And so you can use those to find the area. But if we don't have a right triangle, this is a non-right triangle that we're going to look at today. Okay, we're not going to worry about this stuff up here. Okay, on our non-right triangle, we're just going to use this formula. It sort of looks like the back part of the law of cosine, sort of. Remember where we had that 2AB cosine of our angle? Okay, it's sort of like that. But it's going to be the 1/2 because it's a triangle, it's half a rectangle. And then we have our A times B. And instead of doing cosine, this is going to be sine of the angle. Okay. So in our triangle, the pieces that we are looking for are sides A and B, so two sides that are obviously right beside each other, okay? And then C, angle, is the one that is in the middle of them. So we're looking for that side, angle, side. So the two sides and the angle right in between them is what we're going to use for the area. Okay, which means if we're not given that, then we have to do law of sine or law of cosine to figure out the missing part so that we can plug it into that formula. That would be the only thing that would be a little bit more complex. Okay, all right, so find the area, round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so on number one, obviously number one's always the easiest one. It's already set up for us. So we have angle, or sorry, side, angle, side. So these pieces are going to be side A and side B, and this is going to be our angle right in the middle. So remember, the angle determines the side across from it. So if this is capital letter C, then this is side C over here, right? Across from it, not beside it. Okay, so if we're going to find the area of this, we're just going to plug into our formula. We're going to start with the 1/2. And then we're going to multiply our two sides together. So one side is 16, the other side is 11. And then we're going to make sure we do sine this time of our angle that's in between them, the 105. And then we just type that in, and it poof gives us our answer. So 1/2. 16 times 11 sine 105. Oh, hey, by the way, I put out some new calculators yesterday. So if yours is not charged or it's not in radians, is it not turning on at all? Yeah. Okay, let me hold that. Don't put it back then. Okay. It's a work in progress. Okay. So double check up there in the corner, make sure that you're in degrees. And that you get 85.0. Are we good? What was that face for?
Degrees?
Yeah. You need to put it in degrees?
No.
You got it? Okay. And remember, on area, we're talking about the amount of space on the inside of our shape. So it's always in square feet or square inches or square units, whatever they are. All right, so let's look at number 3. So remember, we need side, angle, side in order to be able to do the area. So do we have that here? No. So we have one side, and then we have an angle, but we need to find this other side first, right? Before we can start. So how could we find that side? Can we do law of sines? we have a side and an angle across from each other? Yeah, these two are already across from each other. And then the one that we're trying to find needs to be across from this. Can we find that angle? Yeah, because the three angles have to make 180. So if the triangle adds up to 180, so far we have 76 and 59, which is 135. And 180 take away 135 is 45. And then we have three of our pieces, so we can do our proportion for law of sines to solve for this side. So sine of the angle goes with the side across from it. Just like the sine of another angle goes with the side across from it. So we're going to go this way first. 7 times sine 45. 7 times sine 45 over sine 76. 5.1, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and remember, it's important, again, as excuse me, most of y'all are going to be taking some sort of math class when you get into college, and it's likely that you're going to have to type your answers into a computer, and the accuracy matters, right? So this is not our final answer, so we don't want to round this answer. We want to keep that answer in our calculator with all of those decimals and use all of that so that we can round our final answer, okay? Only round the final answer. So this is 5.1 something something. And now we have our side angle side that we can use to find the area. Half 7, 5.1, dot, dot, dot. So remember to grab that number. And then we're doing the sine of the angle in the middle. Gosh, I didn't bring in my water. Hmm. 15.3. Everybody okay with that? All right, let's look at number 5. Let's do one more. All right, number 5. We need to find the area of this triangle. So in order to do that, we need side angle side. So do we have that here? Nope. So let's see. Well, we have two options. We could either use these two sides and we could solve for this angle in the middle, or we could use this 85 as our angle and we could solve for this other side. Okay. Which one do you want to do? I don't know that it really matters. The first one? Okay. Because we're going to have to use law of sine. If you were able to use law of cosine, you would already have side angle side, right? Like for this, when we're solving for the missing piece so that we can find the area, we're always going to be using law of sines. So these two go together. Like peanut butter and jelly. So we have to use this 5. So this 5 is going to help us find this angle right here beside it, or this one way over here on the other side. Way over here on the other side. So we'll put an X there for right now. Okay, so we're going to solve for that angle. So the sine of the 85 is going to go with the 11. Like the sine of this angle that we don't know goes with the 5. So X is what we're trying to find. So we're going to multiply this way. And that's going to give us the sine of X equals something. 5 times sine of 85 divided by 11. .452 something something. So last step to get X by itself, to get rid of the sign in front of that, is inverse of all of that stuff gives us 26.9 degrees. So if this angle is 26.9, do we now have side angle side? We have 2 sides and 2 angles, but they're not in the right order. So you want to just find this third angle? And then we can do 5 and the 11 and this, so we don't have to worry about finding that other side. Yeah. So 85 plus 26.9 is something. 111.9. Take away from 180. And then we're going to use the 5, 68.1, and the 11. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. I like that. I think it's easy if you know the formula. Okay. However, if you are given side, side, side of a non-right triangle, you are given side, 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 I would not recommend solving for the missing angle. I would, oh, no. Okay, because there is a different formula that we can use to find the area when we have side, side, side. Okay, it's called Heron's formula. Heron was a dude from a long time ago. Okay, when you have all three sides of the triangle, you can use Heron's formula to find the area. All right. It looks like a super long, ridiculous formula, but once you understand what the letters mean, it's really, really easy. Okay? All right. It's going to make a huge square root over this whole thing. We're going to square root all of the stuff. Okay? The first thing that we're going to find is called S. Okay? And in this formula, S right here stands for the semi-perimeter. And semi means half. So we're going to find the perimeter and we're going to cut it in half. Right? So we're just going to add all the sides divided by 2. That's going to be S. Okay? And once we have that formula, we're going to start with that number and then we're going to multiply it by the difference between that number and all the different sides. Okay? So we're going to take the semi-perimeter minus the first side. Like how much longer is that side than the semi-perimeter? And then we're going to multiply it by that same thing for side B. Like how much longer is that side than our semi-perimeter? And same thing for C. And then we'll take a big square root of that whole thing and it magically gives us the answer mathematically. Okay. All right. So on number 7, we have side, side, side. Right? So the perimeter is all three of these added together. So 18 plus 19 plus 21, which makes 10, 18, 2, 3, 4, 5, 58, I think. My brain's working. Okay. So that's the whole perimeter. And then the semi-perimeter is going to be half of that. So half of 58. Anyone? 29. Okay. So this is our semi-perimeter. So now we're going to go to our formula. And we're going to put a big old huge square root. Make sure all this stuff fits under it. Okay. We're going to start with that number. Start with the 29. And then we're going to subtract each side from that 29. So 29 take away 18. 29 take away 19. And 29 take away 21. And if you wanted to, like if you didn't have, a big fancy calculator, like it might be easier to subtract these numbers first and get those down to smaller numbers before you multiply them. Our calculator can handle all of that. So I'm just going to do the square root over the whole thing. 29 minus 18, 29 minus 19, and 29 minus 21. Double check, make sure I typed everything right, because it's early. And then poof, the area of this triangle is 159.7 miles squared. Okay. So the only way that they could make this harder would be to put in some conversions. Like here on number 8, they give you the side lengths as 35 inches, 27 inches, and 14 inches. But what if they gave you, say it was one side was 5 feet 6 inches and another side was 6 feet 3 inches, right? Can you put 6'3" into your calculator? No. So we have to change this. We have to convert this. How many inches in a foot? 12. So this 6'3" is 6 and 3 out of 12 inches. So you could just leave it like that, or you could hit enter and change it to a decimal or a fraction or whatever makes you happy. Okay. Just remember that sometimes those are like repeated decimals, like if it's 0.33333333. So don't round too much. Okay. 5 foot 6 out of 12 is 5.5. Right? Okay. So just be careful. People always sort of freak out and panic when they do that. Okay. That's it. We don't need to do another one of those, right? You good? Just make sure you find the semi-perimeter first, because that's